I went from a predominantly white area, like just dipped into the black area. Not even Croydon as well. Out of all, it was a culture shock. But I went with it.
Shout it out and let them know it's the Davina and Sabrina show. These girls got a lot of style, topics with a lot of class. Davina and Sabrina show. Spill the tea, drink it up. These girls really know what's up. Spill the tea, drink it up. These girls really know what's up. Davina, Sabrina, it's Davina and Sabrina. Davina and Sabrina show.
Welcome to another episode of the Davina
And Sabrina show. Woo, woo, woo. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Share, share the love, guys.
Our episode today is about growing up a mixed race. So we had a lot of requests for various topics from all of you diamonds. And one of the requests was to look into growing up mixed race. So we are speaking to our Sabrina to get to understand her experience of growing up here and other countries as well as a mixed race young lady. And yeah, before we start, I am going to read some statistics. So a recent consensus revealed areas with the highest level of mixed race people in England and Wales. So first up, Lewisham, my area, 8.2. Lambeth, we have 8% of people in there who are mixed race. Then we have Croydon, where we have 7.6. So those identifying as mixed race has tripled since 2001. Then 2021 stats show 1.7 million identifying as mixed. So, quite interesting. So we had a few questions in from you guys, and I'm going to ask Sabrina today some of these questions. So first of all, Sabrina, what is your mix?
Half French, white French from my mum's side, and half Nigerian from my dad's side.
Okay. Yeah. So when did you, this is going to sound like a funny question, when were you first fully aware of your racial identity when it came apparent, in public sort of thing?
First year of secondary school, I think. Okay. I kind of wasn't really a thing. I was just a person, and going to secondary school, because at the time I used to live in northwest London, went to school there, and there was a group of black girls, and I remember feeling, I wanted to kind of fitting with them. But at the time, I actually had a best friend who was light-skinned. I also had other friends who were white. I was around different mixes, but typically I started realizing then that, I'm mixed. So up until then, how old was I? 12? Okay. Didn't really think about colour. It wasn't really a thing at all. But yeah, year 7, I think the first year of secondary school, is and I think because people start I started opening my eyes, things were a bit segregated in the school, and because I was just friends with with everybody, I just saw how people just grouped a bit more. And
what area of London was that?
Northwest London.
Northwest, okay.
So I used to live in Harrow, but I used to go to school in Kenton at the time. So that's probably the first sort of insight. And then I started wanting to, that seems interesting. How they used to talk and just, and I was like, so that's probably the first time.
So would you say that you identify more with your black side or your white side? At the
time, I just didn't identify anything, really. It was just, I just was, I'll be honest. But I was started to become more intrigued, just probably to the black side of me from then on. If you fast forward a little bit later, it was more people that would then start to make me categorize myself a little bit more, I think. But I was aware, and actually quite, as much as I'd been, exposed, obviously lived with my mum who's white. But we used to go out, like since come back from Nigeria and stuff, my mum would still have all her Nigerian friends and so forth. So we'd go party regularly. So I was around people of colour and so forth, but it just was never a thing. My mum never made it a thing. It was just, I am who I am. You're just a person. And so, yeah.
So when you were in France, I remember you mentioned, obviously, you were living in France for a while. Was that predominantly, obviously, white?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Yeah,
it was. And actually, that's one of the reasons. At the time, that particular place in France is just a tiny little village in Brittany. No one heard of Saint-Guy-Portrieux. And it's just, me and my brother were the only people of colour there. But it was such a small village that obviously people knew who we were, who my godmother was and stuff. There was no issues. But my mum was like, she doesn't want us. She wanted us to be a bit around more culture for us. And
did you encounter any sort of like discrimination there? Because obviously London's very
in the moment, no. But when I look back, but I wasn't aware. See, when you're naive or, I would actually, they treat us differently. If it wasn't for my godmother, I'm talking about in France specifically, if it wasn't for my godmother because she was well known in this little community, we wouldn't have been accepted, I don't think. And so just small, when I just think about a small little... and I was on chart, underlining things. It was obviously from the friends and family, fine, but when we would go out, like they would get stares actually because it was just no people of colour at all there. And that is one of the decisions why my mum decided to move. So as you know, I lived in Nigeria at some point, so that was different, and then in Tahiti, they're of colour as well there. So that's.
So do you feel like if you'd stayed in France, you'd be a lot different to how you are now? Like,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Because I think, so going back to one of your first questions was when I was 12, I started realising, I'm black and I'm white, and I actually thought I didn't really think anything of it more than I've got the best of both worlds. Really, I actually thought I've got the best of both worlds. I could fit in, and but then I noticed how I was living in North London to then when I moved to South London. Complete culture shock. Complete
good old South
culture shock. But I went with it though because I was curious. Because actually I started for whatever reason navigating towards or being interested to just find out a little bit more about my black side. And like I say, these group of girls who I became friends on a separate, like on a one-to-one basis. But I'm not even gonna lie, I used to get really intimidated by being around the big group of them because I was still trying to, like, they will talk about things that, obviously I'm very light, but I got my afro hair. Like at the time, I just started to relax my hair, but there was just things that they used to talk about. I thought I'd never had that kind of conversation, even though I had like my best friend at the time. She's light skinned, but so it was an interesting thing. But I went with it. I just went with it, and I started then wanted to find out more about this side of me. Like, what is this side? Like, I know it sounds silly, and only probably mixed race people will understand this, but what does this even mean? Does it mean that? Should it mean something? At the time it didn't, but it did to me. Like, my brother though had a complete different, he didn't care about that. He was just who he is. Spiritual is a spiritual being, doesn't matter. But for me, I then wanted to tap in a little bit more to that black side. So when, but also because people did start to ask questions. Oh, so which one do you identify? I don't know. Both. Best of both worlds. People can't be racist to me, but yes, they can actually, because people just then identify, like, still put you in a category that you're of colour, so you're black, or so to speak. But so moving back to South, the reason I say that is that I used to like, for example, if we're talking about dating, I met like this guy who was Filipino, like this guy who was Italian. There was nothing. But when I moved to South London, I don't know, within 6 months.
What was it, Sabrina? Tell me.
It was, I was just like, my preference was started to be black people. Black people. Yeah, absolutely. Or people of colour. They had people to be. Colour, yeah. And So if I lived in France, I think I probably have the same thing. I would have probably, because I would have been around predominantly white people,
You
so
would have
I
been
would have
Caucasian,
be
most
more
likely.
interested for the Caucasian sides. But yeah, no.
So I don't know. I always hear this thing about like mixed race privilege. Do you feel like you've had that or seen that growing
Truthfully,
up?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like in one way, I have encountered prejudice and discrimination and even some form of racism because people still categorize me as being of color. So I'm more to the black side. But yeah, you see it. You see, like growing up, especially now, things are a bit different because, you know, the world has been open to dark chocolate and so forth. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, but it's true. But that's social media for you.
Yeah,
you know?
it's true.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
it was like no one
No, it's
wanted
just
anybody
like,
with
yeah,
afro hair
yeah.
and it was
Or
just
the
light skin,
darker
straight
girl,
hair
yeah.
and stuff. Honestly, the way. But so yes, there was that part, and I understood it as well quite early on. I'm not saying that I, you know, went with it necessarily, but yeah, it was evidence. Like you can't even lie. Anyone who says that, like, is I wouldn't. They're
And it
lying.
still happens a little bit
It
today.
still
It's-
does.
yeah,
it still does.
happens, yeah.
But I think generally speaking, things are changing. People are going, you know, like, yeah. So back then, people just was wanted light skinned persons. So, you know, if you wanted to, you could play on it and get what you wanted or whatever and stuff. But I still also had some sort of prejudice. Oh, she thinks she's too. People don't even know me. I remember, and
Yeah.
it's so funny. I remember this conversation. I don't know. It was a group of people at school. No, it's college actually, and this girl just took a complete dislike to me. It was just on face value though. And I remember one time, and so yeah, I remember one time that I don't know. It was a group of people, and the people friends I'd become with, she'd known them as friends, and they would talk quite highly of me. And then she even said, "You know what? She actually said, I really misjudged you. I really thought you was full of yourself." I said, "What made you think that?" She goes, "Honestly, nothing other than just being like just looking the way
that's
I
it.
thought that was deep." But that's when I actually realized. I think about just 16, 17, and I thought, wow, like that's pretty deep. And I started realizing. That's what people do. Like
Yeah.
they
We all
you know,
do that, I think.
we do. And I
yeah.
understand it because actually there was a bit of that thing. You know, there were some girls who were mixed race and they'll play on that like,
Yeah.
you know, but because I wasn't brought up that way, I had certain different type of values. And because I genuinely wasn't brought up with having colour in mind, that was never my thing.
Yeah.
But I started noticing it a lot more obviously in South London and
You know what? That actually makes me think. You know when we first met, like when I first met you, it's tall, gorgeous. I just thought, oh, she's not going to really. I know it sounds a bit sad that you probably wouldn't want to
be friends
maybe,
with you.
yeah, friends with me. I
geez.
know that
What,
sounds
because
a
you're
bit- I
dark
know-
skin.
No.
Love the show? Show some love back.
Like, follow, and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You know the drill.
All under at The Davina
And Sabrina Show.
And not because, like, it's not even just the fact that you're light-skinned, you're beautiful, which you still are, whatever, but seeing you for that first time as you walked into the acting class.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, we met in an acting class in 2009. I just thought, like, wow, this girl, I bet everyone likes her. And she's, so, yeah, that was my first sort of, image of you, I would say. But then obviously when we started talking on that day, I was just like, yeah, this girl, she's cool. Yeah. But that was my initial thought, I would say. Yeah.
And that's that part. I've had that a lot. And so there was a point where I did feel like I had to try a little bit. Like as much as, yes, I got there's that side where you could play on the privilege for sure. But I also felt because I was still trying to find myself and still trying to make friends, I felt like I did have to be like, just show people straight away, like, I'm nice, I'm humble, and da-da-da-da. So I felt like I did try a little bit too hard initially because I didn't want people to have that because one thing that I'm really big on is my character. I don't like people speaking on my character if it's wrong. If it's right, fair enough, you know. If I'm a bitch, then fine, but I know I'm not. So that was something I used to have to deal with quite a lot. And it's actually, I was quite a sensitive soul. I still am, but you know, I'm a bit more grounded now. But I was very sensitive. So things would get to me, to be fair, and I would come home and just, because you're still trying to figure out where do I fit, and it's just, it was insane. But I went with it, boy. I think I did quite well, actually, to adapt.
I remember when you said, when you went to LA. So guys, we've both been in LA. We actually found out the first time we went to LA, we didn't know one another, but we were in LA at the same time. But you were saying like to get into the clubs and everything, you got in there. Yeah, it was just like the privilege was really great there. But
it actually was. It was.
Yeah.
It was for sure. But also, it's the right people as well, though. Like I think
You know
it was
what?
just.
Whatever it is, whether it's pretty privilege or whatever,
Yeah, true.
use it to your benefit. That's my motto. But
I mean,
was
I
like,
can now. Like when I was younger, it wasn't really that about that
Mm.
though, because it was like I'm still trying to find myself. I don't want people like I want people to like know me as me and so forth. But yeah, like as you get older, you're like, okay, let me see how I can.
Life is too short now. Anyway, so obviously we've talked about privilege. What has been the biggest challenge you'd say, like in terms of growing up mixed race?
Just finding out where I fit in. I'll be honest. At one point, it was very confusing. So confusing. Like, guys, and again, it's just, am I black? Am I white? Why does it matter? Why are people asking you to just pigeonhole? Like, I know it seems like a simple thing, but it's not, because of my identity. Remember, like I grew up just not, like I am who I am, okay? My mum did do her best, but being from she did her best to just provide the culture. Like obviously, like, we lived in Nigeria for a few years when it was children. So coming back every Sundays, my mum would make the egusi soup, the pounded jam, and all that. And I saw that, and we'll still go to the Africa parties.
Which she can make very well, guys.
Oh, I certainly can, hey. But
a good African cook.
And but she did her best, but there's only so much she could do. So actually, it was quite a lonely journey. Because again, I was quite shy. Had to fake it till I made it. I'll be honest, for a long time, for a very long time. Didn't want to show the world, but yeah, just trying to find who am I, and why are people constantly trying to? Which one are you? Which one? I'm both. I'm actually both. But then I understood very quickly. I actually was more interested to. Like I started to identify more with my black side, but it's also because people keep asking, especially then when I got into the creative, it's like you're just put in this pigeonhole, and you have to choose. And so yeah, I was actually confused, and that's something I think a lot of mixed race people is just confusing. Like, why should it be like that though? I get it, but
I actually do remember this acting class we met at when you were saying in terms of casting, like you said. Because you don't have the typical mixed race look. You're often with casting. It was quite difficult. I don't know if you remember that conversation. I think we had it with a casting director. At the time. But do you want to? Yeah,
I think so. Because it's actually probably more so when I was young. I wanted to get into modelling before, and what I found is that if you looked at the time anyway, if you're mixed race, a lot of mixed race had like the smaller nose and thinner lips. I was light, but yet I had like obviously fuller lips, and I had my nose isn't necessarily pointy. So when if they wanted a mixed race, they wanted the mixed race, the typical, the curly hair. My hair ain't curly.
The green
apart from when I
and,
plait it, and I was trying to make it curly and all that with my little plaits and stuff. But I had afro hair, though I started to relax it and so forth. So it was that part that that I was probably just talking about. I just felt like I didn't fit. I was, and if they wanted like someone black, they'd go with a darker person. So I felt like it was very prominent, especially in the modelling at the time. It was all that, just trying to, and then still dealing with me as a character and everything else. So yeah, it was just the identity when it comes to the thing of colour. It's been a journey.
Yeah. And what would you say, has there been like stages you've gone through in terms of finding your identity or?
Yeah, like the confusion, the fitting in, the thinking, oh, I've got it figured out. Oh, no, I don't. Like people putting you in that category, and then am I really in that category? Should that be my identity? But I think now is in a completely different place. I've just embraced both sides. I am who I am. And that's the beauty about getting older, to be fair. And yeah, I think, and then also still in count, because I remember as well being light, skinned, and like you're talking about this privilege thing, but I also had like people would remember in school. I'm supposed to laugh at this, but because like I say, I had still prominent features that was like, I know I don't look so like, because over the years I like my sunbathing and stuff. I'm getting light now though. It's getting December.
You need a holiday.
I need a holiday. I don't do sunbathes or anything like that, but I do like, everyone who knows me, I like my sun and stuff. But I remember this guy, he used to just call me Rubber Lips 2000. And I remember that, I was like, wow. That's pretty deep, actually. 2000. Will's way ahead, boy. He was.
I had the same thing, not 2000 though. But
what did you have?
Well, it was in the 80s because I'm a little bit older than you. But yeah, I just
Rubber
like,
lips,
it was just like
80s.
Rubber Lips. I was like, no.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, just those little things. I'm like, okay, so yeah, it was just.
Look, put it this way, now they're paying for it.
I know. Listen,
To have their lips injected. I love my lips now.
I love my lips. I've grown into my lips.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. My head was. I had a bit of a big head, but my lips were big in comparison. But I've grown into it. But yeah, it's just things like that. People pinpoint. But I guess yeah. So where I'm at now is I'm at peace, and the reality is I do identify more with my black side for sure. Like and I'm good. Like most of my friends, don't get me wrong, like I've got white friends and mixed race, but I definitely, and I've been exploring that more by going to Nigeria. Like that was something that sealed it for me as well. In going back in my later years, obviously, and
So maybe get a Nigerian husband.
yeah, or it could be from Guyana, maybe. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, that part as well. So. My preference would be someone of colour. It has to be African or Caribbean. Don't mind mixed. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, so but I'm happy with that. Is what it is. Is what it is.
So
Truthfully though, if I did just put it out there, like be interested, because I can find Caucasian people attractive. Like, oh, you're nice looking. I'm just not attracted to them. I'm just not.
Yeah,
I probably would be married now if I was.
Yeah, same here.
It's taken me a long time. But anyway, yeah.
So lastly, what would you say to your younger self, like the one who was, went through all of that in terms of moving, discovering your identity? What piece of advice would you give to your younger self, would you say?
It'll be fine. It's gonna be okay. Like you'll figure it out. It will make sense at some point. Because when I say the confusion was pretty, it can go two ways. I withdrew a lot, but for lots of different reasons. I was dealing with, by the time I was that age, I'd moved countries to countries, out like areas to areas, north, south, east, and then on top of that, dealing with color or no color or lack of color or being called yellow. Those things words like that didn't.
Oh, you
actually,
were called, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Mixed breed. All sorts. Yeah.
They used, because I remember back in the day they used to say half caste. Yeah. I
understand that's not a term. Like, to be fair, that doesn't.
Anymore.
Apparently, you can't.
No, it's not.
Who decided that? I'll be honest. I don't know.
Because they always used to refer to it as half caste, half done.
caste.
Yeah.
But people would make you feel like that. Like even people like black people and people mixed race, they would still from both sides would still. But anyway, so. Yeah, that it's just, you will figure out your identity. Your colour definitely has something to do with that. But just it's going to be okay. You won't feel lost forever. Like you'll find your peace.
Because I think even though it was challenging moving around and being mixed race, but I think that's done you good in terms of your overall.
It's opened me up. Like, and actually, just when I think back though, it's like I went from a predominantly white area, like just dipped into the black area. It was not even Croydon as well. It was a culture shock, but I went with it. And actually, when I think back, I think I actually navigated well. I faked it till I make it. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know who I was. I was figuring out, and I was around. It was quite overwhelming and stuff, but I did all right. And this is the thing I will say though. One of the best things I'll say is there are three yous. There are who you truly are, who you see yourself as, and how the world sees you. When I started to learn that, and if you can navigate all three of it, it's a good way to navigate life, just generally, even not like without colour in mind. Who you truly are, how you see yourself, and how the world sees you. Because I understood quite quickly, whilst I was still figuring out who I am, how people saw me is what helped me navigate it. So yeah. So that's I will say that's it. That is how.
Thank you, Sabrina.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All right. So it's DNS pick or treat time. Girl, it is
My
your
time. Oh,
turn.
gosh. Oh, guys. Right. Okay. So let me take a pick. What do we have in store? Will I have to go for a treat today? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What's like this? Okay. So, guys, my one is, if you had to go on a date with P. Diddy or R. Kelly, who would you choose and why? Oh, my Jesus. Do I go with a diddler? Oh,
Girl.
God. Well, both of them are diddlers, aren't they?
Diddlers.
Diddler.
Oh, don't.
That's what they call him, P. Diddy, isn't it? The diddler. Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, I'm going to be too old for R. Kelly. He likes them young, isn't it? So...
Oh, jeez.
He wouldn't want me. Oh, God, I don't think I can choose, I mean. You know what? I might have to go for a treat on this.
Really?
I've heard too many
Yes,
things
treat.
about P. Diddy in terms of what he's doing in terms of the court case. And R. Kelly, no. I don't want to be peed on. No. And I'm too old for him. Way too old. Yeah. Okay, let's go for
A treat.
a treat. Yeah.
That means she's going to treat me potentially, girl.
Let's see what I have to treat Sabrina to. Take her to Nando's with a minimum spend of £20. This evening, we were planning on going out to dinner, so I'm taking her out. Nando's, 20 quid.
All right. We'll take some
Better than
evidence
choosing
of
P.
that.
Diddy and R. Kelly. Yeah.
I would have chosen, you know. But it's okay.
Sorry, who could you have chosen? Sorry, just
I would purely, based on looks, it would be R. Kelly. It would have just been. I know that's really bad.
You're too old for him. He'll lock you up in. The dungeon. Like he was locking people up and peeing on.
I know it's true.
I'm so sorry. No,
It would have been. I would have been scared what I was going to cheat because, like I said, it's not payday yet. But anyway, yeah. But
and then P. Diddy squirt something on you, or inject you, or put something in your drink. Nah, I'm sorry.
You're making me. I still would have chosen that. But anyway, that's okay. I get my Nando's. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Nando's
okay.
tonight. Extra hot.
Yes, medium actually for me. But yeah.
So guys, please do not forget to subscribe and follow us at the Davina and Sabrina Show at Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and what was the other one? Last one, Sabrina?
Facebook.
And Facebook. Yes, don't forget good old Facebook. And until the next time, much love, and we will see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Shout it out and let them know.